got the Han game up. And yeah, so bans. So we got Moira and Chipper from Team Tim, electrician and engineer. I feel like I see these bans all the time. Maybe give or take a
Yeah,
Magnus
I
ban
think there's a reason for that. Yeah, if it's not electrician, it's Magmus
or
or
Meraxis or something.
Meraxis. Yeah. But if you ban Moira, then you don't ban Meraxis. I think honestly, I think that's the decision point. If Moira is banned, you don't need to ban Meraxis. Like, Meraxis is so good versus Moira.
Yeah. Meraxis is just a good hero in general too. Like that
Yeah,
Quake
yeah,
stun when you get a PK is 2.5 second stun. It's like it's super nice.
yeah. Good. It's a good
So
area.
I have a question for you. Like Magnus
All right.
is a hero that we see like picked or banned like all the time. Is Magnus
Mhm.
like an OP hero, or is he just like his stun is just so good that he's just so valuable like to any team? Or do you feel like there's something like OP about Magnus? Cause whenever I have Magnus in my team, I just like that stun is just so good because it's like
I don't.
instant.
Yeah, I actually don't think. I would say that his stun is the strongest part of his kit, right? Like
Hmm.
it's like super reliable, super like long range, very quick, right? Like you have it's like literally impossible or almost impossible to actually react to it, but in between like it hitting you and him casting it,
Right.
there is like like call it like a 2/10 of a second window that you could maybe react, right? But it's like very hard.
Hmm.
But the fact that it's like so long range and it actually has a pretty good width to it, and then it's just like a pretty long duration stun, right? It's like no,
It's
2.5 second,
2.15 at all
2.15 second
levels.
stun.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just yeah, I think his stun is actually what makes him. Now the rest of his kit is actually like super good, obviously. Um, he's got like that innate farming mechanic that allows him to
Push waves
recover in a
fast.
sense,
Yeah.
and steam bath obviously with projectile disjoint as well as just like you know wave pushing capability, and obviously stealth is a defensive mechanic. It's just
Hmm.
like an all-around good hero, but I think the stun is definitely what makes the hero. I mean, especially because once you get PK, like I said, the range is long enough, like 700 cast range, to where you can pretty much. This is like where the difference between like line stuns and AoE stuns kind of show up, right? Because it's much more reliable to get a two, maybe a three-man stun with a strong line stun like Magnus than it is with like a Meraxis Quake. Um,
Yeah.
in contrast, just because it's very seldom that people are going to be, if the radius of Quake is 300, then you've only got like a 600 range for you to stun two people. But even then, that's like if you catch them on the very edge, right?
So there's nothing like broken or overpowered about Magnus. He's just so valuable because of his
Dude, I
stun.
really don't think so. I mean, like,
I always wondered if like the hero should not have two spells that disjoint, like if it should just have one. But
well, it
then the
actually makes
question
me
becomes
wonder.
then the question becomes which skill shouldn't have a disjoint, and I feel like it would be weird if the lava surge didn't make you
I would say,
invulnerable or if the steam bath didn't disjoint when you
no,
cast it.
I think Steam Bath shouldn't dis. So basically,
So if like
Steam Bath
if a
is.
hero throws like a spell at you and you steam bath mid projectile, you should still get like interrupted and hit by the spell.
I'm actually trying to think about it on a mechanical
Yeah,
level, like
I've always had this
what
like
the
toss
difference
up in my
between.
mind about like how it should work and if
So the
it's
thing
just
about
fine.
Steam Point, the thing about Steam Bath is there is no fade time, right? It is an instant stealth spell, right? And
Right.
that's actually very unique in the game, I think. I'm actually trying to think of a comparable stealth mechanic in comparison. All the ones that I'm juggling in my head, um,
How about Nomad
like Nighthound,
Sandstorm?
Valk
Does he
ulti,
instantly? No, it
Sandstorm
has a
actually
point
might
5
be
second fade time actually. I'm just
does
reading
it?
it now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all of those, you'd have to find a like a stealth spell that actually makes you go instant invis, and then you can kind of check mechanics there because there's something about with I think it is when I look at Magnus' Steam Bath and why it disjoints, I think it is the instant invis portion of the spell that actually makes it function that way. I could be wrong.
Huh.
But at the same time, um, I have had cases where that spell has disjointed while he's been revealed. So I'm actually not even sure. Like I've seen him disjoint things with that spell while under a rev ward. And to that end,
Oh
I
yeah, see
don't
that's what I
think
don't
that
like. That's what
other things, yeah. To that end, I don't think other spells function that way. Other stealth spells.
so
And
I
if
want
you
to
were going to nerf a hero, that would be the hero that would be a good place to nerf it, I think. To where
remove
the
his
steam bath just kind of make
steam bath disjoint when he's
yeah,
like
I
revealed,
think
or just or at any point.
just in general because there's certain so like auto attacks, ranged auto attacks for instance, will get disjointed by a stealth hero that successfully gets goes stealth within
Hmm.
their fade time before the projectile hits them. Spells, I'm not sure. Actually think spells might do the same. I mean, this would actually be a really good Han science experiment to kind of test. Like an Androstun would be a perfect, for instance, um, where I know for a fact Magma's Steam Bath is going to disjoint that, right? But if I stealth with Madman right as it's being cast, and the cast actually goes off, but I manage to get into stealth past the fade time before it hits me. I'm not 100% sure right now whether or not I'm going to get stunned by that Andro Comet.
Yeah.
And it might be hard to test in practice mode actually because of the way that you have vision of all the units, and it might not be truly representative of game situation.
So all right. Anyway, we're in a pause, which is kind of perfect because we didn't really talk about the drafts at all. So this gives us a little
Yeah.
bit of time. I'm just gonna go over the bans and then we'll just look at the lineups as a whole. So we got Swiftblade, Bubbles, and Ophelia banned out by Team Tim, which is a pretty big mixture of stuff. The Swiftblade
Hmm.
ban, hindsight now, I guess it's because they want to try lane, which we're gonna talk about that in a second. Then the Benzington Calamity and Hammerstorm, these are just some like really tournament meta heroes. So like nothing really sticks out to me there. But then the overall lineups now for Team Tim, we have a Magnus, Andromeda, Nymph, Valkyrie, and Pebbles. So if we could just talk about their lineup really quickly, it looks like they are running like a position one Valkyrie, and then they are
Hmm.
going to be trying to end this game really early because Valkyrie I don't feel like is a super hard carry. She could,
Not versus Oogie for
buy
sure.
right click DPS items and deal lots of damage, but I don't think when we think of Valkyrie we think of like a hard carry, something, that comes to mind like a Dark Lady or a Mage Bane, for example, is a hard carry. Valkyrie, not that kind of hero. So it's safe to say I think
Definitely
they're
not.
they're looking to win the lanes and snowball into the mid game and win the game at a pretty early
Yeah,
mark.
I completely obviously didn't pay attention to the order of these picks. That was a last. Wait, let's see. That
Valk
was a
was
last pick
fourth picked. I
Oogie.
was kind of. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about Hellborn's draft in 1 second, but the Valk was fourth
Hmm.
picked, and then the last pick was
Andra.
actually Andromeda. So they picked the Pebbles and the Nymph really early on, and then they decided where they wanted to go from there. Now the Hellborn's draft is Moa, Kinesis, Deadwood, Kraken, and Oogie. So I love that we're seeing Big Ego Crew finally step out of their, token comfort pick lineups. Like we're so used to just seeing Big Ego Crew pick the same style of drafts over and over. So I love that
Yeah,
they're trying some different stuff. Now at the same time, I think what they have drafted here is pretty solid. If
I like their draft a
you
lot.
you want to now take over and just talk
Yeah,
about
I
what
mean,
you think
I think
about
that
their draft.
so for one, I actually kind of the Swiftblade pick ban actually makes me wonder if they had this Oogie pick in mind, because I think that Swiftblade is when I look at Swiftblade, I think that he's kind of especially strong versus Oogie. I mean, Swift slap
Hmm.
or the spin giving him 5 seconds to match community is pretty valuable. I mean, obviously that
Nymphora is
is
gonna go down here actually, as the Trilines are battling each other. Caught that on camera the whole time, but they tried to go on Oogie, not enough damage to bring him down. They might actually get a second kill now. The Andromeda has a Comet Stun. He's gonna use it, but he's gonna go down. Valkyrie throws out a counter arrow. Here comes a nice two-man Nymph Stun, but they don't have enough damage to bring down Oogie. He's just a little bit too tanky there.
if I'm not mistaken, the arrow from Valkyrie actually hit a creep when they tried to go on
Okay.
Oogie
Speaking of Valkyrie,
initially.
she actually goes down as she does not have the leap available to her. And I mean, we can see here the Legion's tri-lane. They're dealing a lot of damage like back to Hellborn, but they're just not finding enough for a kill. Like they're getting both the
Yeah,
Oogie and the Kinesis very low, landing some nice two-man Zeal stuns, I would say,
yeah.
as
The
well.
problem is before or after that initial try onto Oogie, when all three of them were up, they were actually quite disjoint in their participation in those skirmishes. Like the last time that they got them low, I think it was only Valkyrie and Nymphora that were there. Andro was still dead, walking
Hmm.
back.
Okay.
So they didn't have. This is the first time that they've actually had all three heroes in the lane again, and they're at a steep disadvantage at this point. Considering the Hellborn heroes are all back up, but they're going on
Yep,
Oogie.
double damage on Kinesis here as the Comet Stun is going to throw it onto Valkyrie, who does not have the level 2 yet for the leap. Will they be able to bring her down? Two-man Zeal Stun is going to stop the chase, but Kinesis, he's tanking some tower damage here. What's going to go down? They actually turn it around with that Volatile Pot of Nymphora, and they are looking to put some return pressure now onto Master of Arms, but that's a big turn as they don't lose the Valkyrie there.
Yeah, that was extremely big. That just that nice little tree juke and Kinesis, felt pretty confident pushing forward because he could take the tree up. But that pod was everything, man.
Yep, even
Pod
a
is
level
such an
1 pod.
amazing level 1 spell.
Yep, I believe it can heal for up to 120, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. So yeah,
So,
definitely, and that's damage dealt to the opponent as well. So it's a pretty big swing in the life bars as we saw there.
mhm.
Um, so yeah, what do you think about this mid lane matchup? I honestly, I'm a big fan of Kraken. Like ever since the 2015, 2016 days, we've seen lots and lots of Kraken, but we don't see him a lot nowadays. I am
A
a big
lot of
fan of this
action
hero.
still going on the
Yeah,
top lane. They're going on Kinesis.
so yeah, the tri lane is not settling down. We see a kill on the Kinesis. Valkyrie though, she is in a very offensive position here. She has the Marchers picked up. Andromeda though, he might be the one who's in trouble. The Tarquakes are coming out from Oogie. A heal comes out from Nymphora. Are they going to look to turn this around? They do not have mana for another Comet Stun. Arrow lands onto the Oogie. Here comes a power supply. He misses the Tarquake, but it's not going to matter. There's too much damage. Now Valkyrie's the one in trouble. Master of Arms getting very low. He goes down. They exchange lives with the Valkyrie and the Master of Arms, and it becomes a double tap for Master of Arms.
Was that a
Um,
2 for 2 again?
I believe that was a 2 for 2 as we have the Oogie and the Andromeda both alive. So, the Oogie survives. I think that's the big difference maker there.
Yeah, for sure. And uh, you actually gotta love Oogie in this. Like, unless you have to love Oogie in this tri-lane setup because whenever you play in a tri-lane, like you are, unless you just outright win it, um, like both sides are contesting it, right? So basically, each of the cores are not going to be able to build greed. They're going to go full laning,
Hmm.
build up items and everything. And Oogie is just is a hero like in comparison to Valkyrie, right? Just gets so much benefit out of laning items. Like this hero just farms by raising its mana bar
Andromeda is
and
going to get
HP
healed up
bar.
by the Nymph. The Acid Bomb from Master of Arms is dealing lots of damage as well as slowing him, but Andro will get to safety as Oogie had initially taken a arrow from a Comet Stun as well, but no kills resulting in this tri lane.
Yeah, but all things being equal, I think that Hellborn's in a much better position coming out of this tri lane, unless they start to get shut down with either Andromeda, Valkyrie, and Nymphora start making huge plays to just start cleaning up kills, or they
Hmm.
get some rotations. But Oogie's gonna come out of it more or less unscathed.
Release the Kraken in the mid lane onto Pebbles.
Able to.
He throws out a stun into a Chuck combination. I think he will survive. 8 life! That splash dealing so much damage. He tries to get the Torrent off. Meanwhile, in the tri lane, we get a kill onto Dutch Onage, aka the Oogie. And Pebbles, he's trying to go for the dive here. Or, excuse me, Kraken's going for the dive onto Pebbles. Will he find the auto attack range?
Oh
It
my
looks
god.
like he's going to actually go for it, but he's going to die.
Wow.
The Chuck comes up. And Pebbles played that super well. A little bit of a
Yeah.
greedy play at the same time coming out from Kraken, but he survived with 8 life. That was so close
Yeah,
to start
Pebbles
things
really
off.
capitalizing. Like you could say it was greedy by Kraken, but that was just
Well played by Pebbles at
fantastic
the same time.
execution.
Had to do
Yeah.
some multi juking there in the trees with the cliffs as well, and
And yeah, and the uphill
got the mana from
with the
the
ramp juke.
Chuck in the end.
Even
So
Sate is
he knows he
he's
made a greedy play, but
yeah.
perhaps also some frustration as the kill was just so close to happening in the
Yeah.
first place. I think that was a factor. But
Yeah, it's definitely when that kind of thing has happened to me, it's very much an "Are you kidding me?" moment. And I have to
yeah,
get this
I
kill.
feel for him there.
Like
Um,
that's the mindset.
so while we were talking about the tri lane for the most part of this game, I was looking at the other side lanes. Kraken and Pebbles were pretty much even. Kraken getting the a little bit of better rune control in the beginning. Deadwood, he's getting dived here by the Veiled Rotted Pebbles with the Magnus. This should be a pretty easy kill as Pebbles has lots of combo damage being level 7. But Magnus, I believe, was winning the spot lane pretty handily in terms of creep farm. He's sitting at 350 versus the 2. Well,
I think that's to
Deadwood
be
was doing a
expected.
little bit better, but now with the death, even worse. But yeah, I agree. I think that's to be expected. Just the volcanic touch, even just being level 1, kind of puts a decent amount of pressure here. But tri lane, they're gonna go for a kill here. Hellborn side, they run into Nymphora. He's going to throw out the stun. Here comes a comet. The arrow is on cooldown. The turns are coming. Nymphora did fall. Are they going to get the kill here onto Andromeda as well? So it's a 2 for nothing. And I think the
Return kill from
arrow
Deadwood though.
being down was a little bit of a big part of them not getting any kind of return kill, as they were lacking that extra bit of lockdown and burst.
I
Um,
missed that kill on Magnus from Deadwood, but
oh yeah,
he deployed
I
back.
missed that
Must have just
completely.
gotten grasped
Did
into a punch.
he have the reveal or was the steam bath down? Because he could. I believe the
He
rotten
has a rev
grass.
ward in front of the tower, so I think it was a
Okay, yeah, I believe
it doesn't
the
reveal.
root does not reveal stealth targets, so he could sit steam bath if he got rooted. And
Oh my
I'm just
god,
missing
Kraken
kills
living
left and
with
right.
like 25
Pebbles goes for a
HP.
dive in the mid lane. He falls to Kraken, and top lane. Um, in the top lane, Nim ended up falling. Here comes Magnus though with a 2-man lava surge stun. They get the 1 kill on the Kinesis. It looks like Magnus wants to go more, but its team is not necessarily looking to do that as Andro is low. Valve does not have an arrow up, so Magnus rotates in for a Kinesis kill. Do you think that's worth it for Magnus to go up there, or do you think that gives just too much space to Deadwood here in the bot lane?
It's tough to say because they like Oogie has been doing just a little bit too good at this tri lane, so they do want to try and shut it down. Like
Hmm.
this hero, it's like I said, this hero actually needs to be shut down completely in order for this aggro tri
Mid
lane
lane,
to succeed.
Eruption, Stun, Chuck combination from Pebbles. Too much damage for Kraken handle. I honestly I love this combination of Magnus and Pebbles. There's just so much good synergy between these two heroes.
Yeah, and now Pebbles or Deadwood is actually might get ran into by Magnus and followed up by Nymph, but
Yeah, so Nymph has
Deadwood can
ported
turn
down
and
here to
kill
the bot
somebody
lane.
like
They don't have Eruption up now, as they had used that in the mid lane. Here comes a pod, and I don't think this is going to be enough damage for a kill. Deadwood just a little bit too tanky without them having
yeah.
Eruption.
Deadwood's still kind of setting up here. Grass is gonna land. Uh-oh.
Willowmaker, and wow! That damage with the Lex Talionis is real. That's a 900 HP Magnus just
Yeah.
evaporating.
He had
I
about
mean,
700, I
oh,
think,
okay.
when that, but still, it's, together, the Rotten Grasp and Lex Talionis is minus 9 armor. Magnus only has 7, so he was in the negative there.
Yeah, so that
That
minus
that
armor.
punch was
Oh,
extreme.
Pebbles! He's gonna find him. Is the nymph gonna get in range though in time is the question. I don't think so. Deadwood survives the combo. Here comes a root into the Lex. That's a good chunk of damage. Kinesis, he steals the Pebble Stalagmite stun. He's going to use it after the pod wears off. Zeal stun going to prevent any follow-up. Pebbles, he's going in. Does have mana for the Chuck. Nice Steamboot swapping there from Pebbles, but Kinesis actually a little bit too tanky. Survives the combo. Here comes Master of Arms with the teleport. Overcharged shot comes out. Pod is going to not heal up Nymph in time, and Log gets thrown in the face of Nymphora for the kill. Pebbles, he's trying to go for a kill here. Uh, could perhaps be a little bit greedy, but he does have a Valkyrie coming in with a flank. Might try to land an arrow here. Clear cutting. Actually, the arrow is going to connect. A nice arrow from Valkyrie. He uses call of the Valkyrie to secure the kill. And that will be the end of that. Pebbles, he's going for the dive onto Master of Arms. He doesn't have mana for the Chuck. I suppose he could Chalice and do a big play here, but
I think he could
Moa
have actually.
Moa is a
Chalice.
little bit too tanky. He might throw the creep. Actually, I think we'll be in range. Yes, it will. And that will be the kill onto Master, who had a ultimate warrior streak. So that's 348 gold for Pebbles, which will get him a little bit closer to his portal key.
Yeah, Pebbles at this point is having a pretty good time. I mean, he's starting to close in on his portal key. And by the time he gets level 11, he's going to be able to kill. Well, I mean, they have a pretty tanky lineup over there on the Hellborn side between Kraken, Deadwood, and Oogie. But I mean, he's going to be able to front load a ton of damage on Oogie, and if he's able to do
Mid lane, Kraken charge, and to release the Kraken. Magnus can't get off his Lava Surge. Kinesis comes in with the assistance, and that will be a kill.
if Pebbles can, I think we're okay. Pebbles actually went Alacrity ban. He's going Outbones, so this is actually really kind of curious. So they're actually kind of committing to a later game here.
Yeah,
This,
and you know, I gotta say, I actually disagree with that. I think he should go the portal key, and then what they should look to do is try to utilize that timing to just snowball the map. And then, you know, if that fails, if that doesn't go well, then you pick up the bones to follow the PK to try to recover. But I feel like going the bones, as top lane we see Master of Arms gets his shield off just in time. Will it be the difference maker? Valkyrie's trying to get a kill, return a stun from Master. Andromeda is taking lots of pressure. He dies to that acid bomb, and Oogie will stay alive. Magnus comes in with a two-man lava surge. He channels the eruption. It's going to get off. Oogie's going to go down. The torrent from Kraken, the torrent from Kraken is going to be disjointed by Magnus, but here comes the Stalagmite stun from Kinesis. Magnus is tanky with those armor boots, man. One more auto attack. Boom. Kinesis goes down. Magnus is going to try to juke here, get the bottle sip off in time. He does not. The acid bomb stopping that from happening, so I think Big Ego Crew came out on top of this fight despite losing their Oogie. It ended up
they
being,
absolutely did.
well,
Especially
actually,
now that Pebbles is committed to Outbones, like
yeah. Oh yeah, Pebbles died.
every time he dies before he gets that, it's really quite bad.
Yeah, but do you agree with the mindset of they need the portal
Absolutely.
key, take the
That's what I was
fights?
thinking.
Yeah.
I was thinking he should try to get PK and try to find a kill onto Oogie before he gets Numb's Wisdom. Now that he has Numb's Wisdom, it's actually going to be extremely difficult for him to bring him down without at least 3 heroes.
Mm-hmm. Kraken picks up his blink, so this is a timing thing of now Kraken has his blink, but Pebbles still, you know, not quite in the spot he wants to be at, despite having a pretty solid GPM. Comet stun onto Master of Arms. Pebbles getting rooted. Who's going to go down first here is the question. Logs are coming out. Master will fall. Pebbles is going to do a nice juke here in the tree line and get the bottle sips up. Deadwood now forced to retreat as he is all by himself. 4 versus 1. Magnus should be able to catch him here, I believe. Has a lava surge coming up in one more second. But did Deadwood buy the distance? Actually, I think he did. And he will survive at least for now, but Kinesis is not going to be the same story. He gets caught out by the stun combos, and Comma Stun will take him down. Valk comes into the mid lane with a port and uses her prism. They are now invis and looking for blood. The arrow is going to try to scout out the Deadwood, but they will not find him. Kraken, though, he could be getting a little too curious as he actually decides to portal key backwards, which that ends up being the right decision. But here comes a stun from Pebbles. He's going to toss Kraken backward, and will he actually go down? And he will. Andromeda comes in from the back, tanking the tower. That chooses to be the wrong decision. It's a double tap coming out for Kraken as he gets the team support in time. And here comes a two-man lava surge from Magnus, setting up the arrow for Valkyrie. They take out the Kraken. They're looking to take down Master of Arms now. Call of the Valkyrie comes out, and Master of Arms will fall to Nymphora. Kinesis, he's trying to steal that Magma stun. It looks like he actually has it already. But we have Veiled Rotted Deadwood here. Here comes a Stasis Smash onto Magnus Root in the background onto Nymphora. Oh my god, the log damage from the Lex Talionis takes out Nymphora. Here comes an Eruption being channeled. It's not stopped. Deadwood will end up falling. It's a double tap for Deadwood as he gets one more kill. Um, but they do clean up both the Deadwood and the Kinesis, so Oogie was not there this entire time. And Team Tim takes a pretty solid fight, I would say.
It was a needed fight for sure. I'm actually
Well,
kind of curious what Valkyrie's going to invest in soon.
was it actually a 4 for 4 though? I say it was a good fight for Team Tim. I think it actually ended up being equal because Pebbles died, Andro died, Nymph, and Magnus died. Only Valkyrie survived, so it was both the Valk and the Oogie surviving.
I think I want to say that Big Ego Crew came out on top.
Okay.
Over the last two skirmishes for sure. Like Big Ego Crew kind of handily won the one before, and then Team Tim kind of got some back, but then Big Ego Crew
Ooh,
kinda
Portal
came
Key
back.
from Kraken. Gonna miss the Tsunami charge, but will it matter in the end? Release the Kraken is gonna lock them down. Two-man Lava Search from Magnus. Nymphora is porting in the background, and they end up getting the kill on the Master. Will Kraken fall? Zeal stun comes out from Nymph, and it ends up being a 2 for nothing as Team Tim brings 5. A nice arrow on the Kinesis. This should be a dead Kinesis as Oogie. He is forced to fall back, and Pebbles is hunting him. If Oogie gets a little too greedy here with the easy camp, it could mean blood as here comes a stun shot combination. One more auto attack. It's actually, he's going to get healed from the gnomes just in time to save him, and there was no team support. Arrow snipe? Okay, he spots this Good heads up play coming out from
Look
Dutch.
at Andro.
I mean, Aurora, I don't think even kills him here. I mean, he's sitting
Does
on
the
120 life, so.
Andro lives only for
Nymphora,
that.
Andrew is just getting a little bit overconfident there, tanking the tower, thinking that he could snipe him out there.
All right, so Valkyrie buys a firebrand. So I'm curious which direction she's gonna go. She's gonna go Geos or I actually don't think I don't hate Dawnbringer on that hero, honestly. Um,
Is it weird to say that I don't like Firebrand? I mean, normally I would say Firebrand's good, but do you think this is a game where he should
I
go?
don't like it
I almost feel
over
like as a one-roll
Nullfire.
Valk, like he needs to go the Hyper Crown here. If he was a
Maybe,
duo
yeah.
core Valk, I would say the Firebrand could be acceptable.
He kind of is a duo core at this point now that Pebbles has gone outbones.
You think so?
Pebbles
But is
Pebbles is going
Pebbles
to be
that scaling kind of core that you?
it's he doesn't scale in the same way as like a traditional core, but man, a farmed Pebbles is actually very devastating,
I
in my
guess
opinion.
that's
Like
true. Can't really
like staff resto is crazy
we
for
can't
sure.
overlook the
If you
possibility
can
of
get
him
it.
picking up those items later. So I'll change my words there to match you. But so
And
I guess
if he does
yeah.
get a staff, like that hero is able to just clean up GPM. It's pretty wild, but
But I guess
I mean,
going back to
uh,
the Valk, do you like the Firebrand pickup in this game specifically? Do you feel like it's okay
not
or
at this point. No,
okay?
it's not what I would get at this point in the game. I mean, it's kind of as you said. The choice is either between building up towards Hyper Crown, which I think would not be bad at all, just to sustain GPM. It's also damage in combat. I mean, Hyper Crown is a lot of damage, but the only other choice to me
What about
would be Nullfire.
What about a Nullfire Blade? I was just
That's
thinking
what I was saying.
like
Nullfire
you could
is
purge the Master Shield, you can mana burn Oogie, which is considered a pretty good way of dealing with Oogie, as he loves to
purge.
just keep cycling his mana with the Primal Surge and the
Yeah, you
Kindled
can
Fury.
purge clear cutting off of Deadwood.
Hmm.
Like it has multiple uses here, and so that's why I say I like it. Um, just also the self purge is always going to come in handy. Like if they carry
Yeah.
dust, like
And
purge
it doesn't
something or something.
necessarily help him farm faster, but it kind of fits the theme of team fighting like a lot, like just having the utility of mana burn. versus like the movement speed of Firebrand, not really valuing super highly. We actually see them losing both the Pebbles and the Nymph here. Valkyrie is now on the run as well as they're trying to get the chase onto him. The Dust, I believe, it did hit, so they do see him down here. And they get the stop on the TP as they had a Ward of Sight here in the area. Valk is going to go down. So I feel like Team Tim is not really they're not really executing what they drafted to full effect. I feel like they're kind of playing this like I feel like they're playing their lineup not the most optimally.
I agree too, and I think it kind of goes back to the decision to skip PK
Yeah,
on Pebbles. I mean, it allows you to, you know, it allows you to take late game or contest late game a little more handily because you are going to be overall you are going to be more farmed,
hmm,
but also that is contingent upon you actually contesting this mid game properly, right? Which
yeah,
no PK makes it considerably harder and to
yeah.
do that as
Well,
we're seeing right
they
now.
have the PK on Pebble on Magnus, but I think it's safe to say Pebbles
I'm not
need.
sure when he picked it up kind of recently, and
Yeah,
Pebbles just picked his up. So I mean, they do have dual PK at this point.
yeah.
So yeah,
But
but
but Magnus
like you
has
were,
impact without a PK versus
yeah.
Pebbles. Safe to say he wants to land those multiple like toss onto double stun target engagements when
Not
possible.
only that, but just like I mean, honestly, just getting the proper Pebbles combo on the hero you're trying to drop is it's very necessary. I mean, like you're not so at this point especially, right? Like Oogie is near 2k HP now that he has an icon of the goddess. Like he's extremely difficult to bring down now. But earlier, if he would have gotten the PK, like he would only had like 1100 HP. Like
Right.
a level 11 Pebbles combo
Pre
on
icon, just
Oogie could
gnomes
have
and
done
boots.
like 60% of his HP bar, and they have the stuns to follow up. So
Yeah, and
that's kind of why I don't like that
Hellborn's
PK
game
skip.
plan, I feel like, is more straightforward. Like, come out even going into the mid game, get your core item, which is the Kraken portal key, and get Oogie to a place where he starts to feel threatening. And they've kind of made it now to that point, I feel like. Whereas, we keep talking about it. Legion's lineup, it's an early game focused lineup. They don't scale super well into the late game, and they need to hit these timings and capitalize. So we see the Pebbles fall here. They exchange lives with the Kraken, but this is more or less just trading and extending game length at this point, right? Like mid for
Yeah,
mid,
and
it doesn't really matter if a Pebbles and a Kraken exchange lives. All this does is it just prolongs the game by extra minutes.
yeah, and it's going to allow Oogie to get his setup. I mean, at this point, they aren't going to have the sustained damage to deal with this Oogie,
Yeah.
especially if he gets a crossfield.
Yeah, I was just gonna say if Oogie goes for a Frostfield play next item, I honestly don't see how the Legion lineup is going to be able to deal with a farmed Oogie, while he has this, you know, almost 400 GPM Deadwood, 300 GPM Kraken, even almost 300 GPM on the Moa. I mean, the Moa with just his spells alone, throwing shields on people, you feel his presence in the team
Yeah,
fights.
and I'm actually that just makes me kind of wince for the Legion team too. As I'm just imagining them getting Oogie into a spot where they actually might be able to kill him, and then just a Moa shield comes out and saves his life. Because
Yeah,
literally, that's all he needs to do. He just needs to survive this burst combo that comes out from the Legion heroes,
get his
and if
Primal
he's able to
Surge off and
just
just start casting.
yeah, as long as he could just start chain casting Tarquake. I mean, the thing about it too is if he's able to get his Primal Surge off before he tanks a combo, and he just has Conflagrate activated, that spell's actually going to heal him while he's stunned. Um, so yeah, it's just even more HP that they're going to have to potentially burn through. And he's actually not going the Frostfield play route, which I guess makes sense because they don't have too many huge auto attackers on the Legion side. But I just like it for its active and for the bulk of mana it gives. But he's going Sheepstick, just
Mhm.
Luminous Prism.
Magnus dies here to a stasis smash, and the lockdown just being too much as Oogie comes in with the damage. And
Yeah,
they
yeah,
vote to
it's
concede, and honestly, I'm really not surprised. I feel like we hit the nail on the head. the lineup was geared toward early game. They had to win the lanes and snowball going into the mid game, and we didn't see that come into effect. So Big Ego Crew, big credits to them. They just executed their lineup a bit better than Team Tim in this game number two, and thus they take the game.
Yeah, I told you I was only going to be able to do one, but I think I can do a second one.
Ah,
Just be
great! I'm
short.
I'm glad that was a quick game then.
Pumped.
Up now. We got John for another game, guys. Aren't you
Yeah, I just want to
aren't you
get out
hyped?
to my buddy's place before sundown, and so I need to, in order
Okay.
to do that, I need to leave around 3 o'clock, I think. So
So like 4 my time?
yeah,
Okay, great. I'm sure we'll go another as those are actually two pretty quick games. So we didn't get to I actually didn't get to watch the first game, but I'm just gonna look over the match ID here. So Big Ego Crew ran a Puppet Master with what I would consider a really traditional Big Ego Crew lineup. They ran the Engineer, the Empath, the Electrician, and the Bubbles. Those are, pretty staple, I would say, Big Ego Crew drafts. Whereas Team Tim tried out a Cthulhu Font Geomancer, aggressive dual lane with a Chipper and a Malakan, and then they ran the Tremble in the mid lane. So they tried out this duo core lineup, but Big Ego Crew actually took that
that
game
Trimble pick is very fun.
in a 30-minute victory. Yeah, I love the Trimble pick. I'm actually a big fan of those aggressive global style ganking lineups, but it didn't end up working for them in the end. So Big Ego Crew has won both uh, game one and game two of the Scrim series so far. And